So you guys are doing some pretty exciting things out in Utah.
Absolutely.
And I just realized this. This is just not a local grassroots organization solely in Utah. You guys have chapters throughout the United States. Is that correct?
That is correct. And the way I found Restore the Fourth was I was on the internet and I'd been looking at something in Mozilla and it said to go sign the petition at stopwatching.us. And so I went through there and then it started talking about other resources they had about the NSA spying. And I was like, oh, well, this is pretty awesome. So I got involved in the group and then started up here with our local chapter. They'd had some protests that were back in June, and I got on for the July 4th protest. So I'd started with them for about a week before then, getting that all rounded up. And so here we are, I don't know, a few months later.
So what made you get involved? Issue with the government spying on Americans. I mean, this is just not the Obama administration. This has been going on for a while. But what was the
Well, this
final?
has been going on for a lot longer than people actually think of. And from what I understand, it actually goes back to even the 50s. Obviously, it was expanded under the Patriot Act under George Bush.
Yeah, this has actually been going on since the Prohibition
Right.
with wiretapping.
And so this has been going on for a very long time. And, you know, I work on computers. I've always been involved with computers. Computers are like my hobby and my, things I like to do. And so doing that, and, I had a reasonable belief that they were spying on us. And then when those leaks came about, then it was just kind of like a confirmation that I wasn't just a conspiracy theorist. And, I was raised by both of my parents. Their fathers were both in the Air Force during World War II. And I've been raised with a real sense of patriotism that, this is our country and we love our country. This is our Constitution. This was something that was fought for very hard. People died to bring our Constitution to light. This wasn't something that happened just because there were real crimes committed against people, and our government was founded to stop those things, to give us our freedom. And now those freedoms that have been fought so hard for have been so severely degraded.
Yeah, and you guys are doing something pretty unique in Utah. Actually, I've never heard of this. You decided to adopt a highway near the NSA compound there.
Well, so for the 4th of July protest, they've made everybody else who's even come close with cameras leave. They have not been very friendly towards anybody even coming. It's not like you can even see anything at their building. But the fact is they break federal law, which states that we have the right to videotape on federal land. And they break the law and confiscate people's cameras. And so we were reasonably assured in our own minds that we would not be allowed to stay. So we had found a spot to relocate in the case that they did make us leave, and they did. And so we had a planning meeting about 2 weeks after that. And so it was just kind of, we were talking at like the round table per se, and just throwing out ideas of how we could be more effective, because getting the word out is key. People have no idea what's going on, especially, people who don't pay attention to this kind of thing. They get, their information from the mainstream media. They have no idea what's actually going on. And so getting the word out and getting information out is key. And so, we had different ideas floating around, and there's been quite a few brought to the table, but this is the one that was brought to the table and that I took, to go forward with, which was just to adopt the highway in front of it. And then we would then have legal rights to be there protesting, because we have the right to, pick up the litter and do what we want while we're there.
Right. It's like a dual purpose. That's great. Well, that's just genius.
Well,
Huh.
it wasn't, I'm not exactly sure who threw it out there, but it was just the one that I took on. So, but I can't even. I didn't even know anybody knew that we were doing it.
Well, so
And then,
how difficult was it to get approved for that? Because you guys get a sign on the road saying
yeah,
that your
it was a
organization.
very simple process. Um, the only thing that kind of like jumped in and kept it held up was kind of me. I had missed an email or two, and then I'm not sure if their email didn't get received or whatever. But as soon as I followed up and said, "Well, I'd sent this to you. What else do I need to do?" She got the ball rolling and everything. So it was a really simple process because I think that they want people out there cleaning up the streets, and they just don't care who does it as long as somebody's out there cleaning it.
Right, absolutely. What do you get any type of word from any NSA officials about? Because I'm sure they're gonna go down the road to work and they'll see the signs there.
I have
I mean, what
heard
a
nothing, and I don't know
yeah,
if that's a good or a bad thing.
right, yeah. Well, that's really so. What are the next steps? Do you guys
Well,
just want to continue? I imagine is there like like a certain is it every month that you guys go out there, or tell us about what the next steps would be.
well, it is a minimum of 3 times a year that we go clean up, and I would like to be there a lot more often. I think part of the problem with getting information out is that, I mean, if you just look at your Facebook feed, by the time that you try to even get to the end of the day, there's 500 more posts. So people are constantly overwhelmed with the amount of information that is out there, but there's so much irrelevant information that they don't even know what the relevant information is. So I think keeping a spotlight on this particular issue is very key, and finding obviously unique ways to do that and to increase and encourage participation. So, hopefully more than 3 times a year, I will be able to get people out there and cleaning up. And then, just partnering with other groups that would be specific for the Fourth Amendment, just trying to, get as many people out to draw attention to this. Because it isn't just about protesting. It is about trying to get people to understand what it is that's going inside the NSA. That this isn't a program that was set for terrorists. If it was, then the president of Brazil wouldn't have called it a human rights violation.
Wow. Right.
So this is a problem that this has overstepped the bounds, and there's no amount of mass data collection that can ever, what's the word, swap for good police work. If you're going to find anybody, it's going to take a good police officer. It's going to take a good team that goes out and does real detective work. You can't find anybody through mass data collection. It hasn't happened yet, and it's not going to happen in the future. The only thing that this can do is, spy on the American people.
Right, and it's totally against our Constitution.
It is
And
absolutely
they're
against our
breaking
Constitution.
the law, the supreme law, the Constitution.
And the whole purpose for the Fourth Amendment goes back to England with 2 different cases where the king didn't like the fact that these men were handing out pamphlets that were saying things that weren't, pleasing to him, and he sent in his, I don't even know what you call them over there, but, he sent in his people, and they took their books, he took their papers, they took whatever they wanted without cause. And so when they did take it to the courts in England, they ruled against the king and for these men, saying, you don't have the right to do that. So when the Fourth Amendment was being constructed, when the states came in their state constitution said no more overbroad warrants. You must have a specific warrant for a specific place and specifically what you're looking for. And that became, the groundwork for, our Fourth Amendment. And it was that important that they made it specific, that the purpose of that provision.
Is there, if you could tell people that would be listening to this interview, where can they find more information about your organization?
Well, our main organization page is at restorethefourth.net. We are getting ready for them launching the new restorethefourth.com page, which is actually the number 4th. And right now it is restorethefourth.net. But anybody across the country can go there and find their local chapter. When you go to that, you'll actually be able to find us, and it brings us to our Facebook page, and I'd love to have anybody. We are nonpartisan. We want everybody out there.
Absolutely, and it seems like this just goes beyond party lines. This is
This is
something
so far
that
beyond party lines.
this is about. It's not about being Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Constitutional. This is about being American.
It is about being American.
So, Lorena Potter, thanks so much for your time, and we will definitely get this information out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. Take care.